Hi, 7th graders. We're on lesson 8.2, which is solving two-step equations using the vertical method and solving multi-step equations. So first we are going to, and we're not breaking this up into 2 days, we're doing 8.2 in both days, so I'm sorry that it says day 1 on here, but first we are going to solve two-step equations, and we're going to use the vertical method, also known as reverse engineering. So basically what we're doing is we're going in reverse to solve these equations. So we have quite a few. So if I were you, I would write these down and do the steps that I do. And the more you do, the more used to it that you will get and the easier that they will become. So if you think back to solving equations, remember an equation is an expression with an equal sign and then it equals something, obviously. So an equation has an equal sign, and what we're trying to do on these equations is figure out what the value of x would be to make this equation true. So what we need to do is so first we're going to do our railroad tracks, which should be straight. Okay, so that tells us that we have this side, which is 3x plus 1, and we have this side, which is 7. So whatever the value of x is would make 3x plus 1 equal to 7. So if you think of a scale and you put 7 on one side and you put 3x plus 1 on the other side, it would be totally balanced and equal. Okay, so therefore, if we think of our scale, we want to keep it equal and totally balanced the whole time that we're solving this equation. So we have to remember that whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So if I knew what x was, I could put it in for x, and we know that we first would go 3 times x, and then we would add 1, and we would get our answer. Okay, so we are going to go backwards in solving our equation. So since I would add 1 last, this time I'm going to get rid of it first. Because we were adding 1 in our equation, we were adding it to whatever number 3x was, we are going to take it away. Okay, and since we took it away on this side, we're going to take it away on that side. Okay, so 1 minus 1 is 0, so it leaves us with 3x. And that is our goal, is to slowly get rid of parts of our expression in order to get our variable alone. So the opposite of adding 1 is subtracting 1, so that's why and if it helps, you can cross it. I like to kind of put a dash through it. And then 7 minus 1 is 6. So we were subtracting 1 from this 1 and only that 1. We didn't touch anything on 3x, so we're pulling our 3x down. So now we just have 3x equals 6. We know in our head that 3 times 2 equals 6, but in order to get that way, since we're multiplying x by 3, we are going to do the opposite, and we are going to divide both sides by 3. Okay, because 3 divided by 3 is 1, so then we have 1x. 6 divided by 3 is 2, so 1x is the same as x, so x equals 2. Okay, then we put 2 back into our equation, so we have 3 times 2 plus, that's a plus, 1 equals 7. Does 3 times 2 plus 1 equal 7? 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 equals 7, so check, yes it works. Okay, and if you think back to the steps that we do, if we look and we do, 3 times 2, we do that first, so 3 times 2 is 6, and then we add 7, then it makes sense that we would go 7 minus 1 is 6, divide it by 3, and then we get 2. Okay, let's do another one. So first I have my railroad tracks. I always separate my two sides where the equal sign is. Okay, so this time I have 25 equals n divided by 4 minus 3. Again, we're trying to figure out what our variable is. So we start on the side that has our variable. Okay, so we're going to start on this side now, and we're going to figure out what do I need to do first to slowly undo all of my operations to get my variable alone. Well, if I knew what n was, I would first divide it by 4, then I would subtract 3. So that tells me that now I'm going to get rid of the 3 first. Subtracting 3 is the same as, the opposite of subtracting 3 is adding 3. So then we would add 3 to both sides. Because we have minus 3, which if it helps you, you can change it to plus negative. So we have negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So my n divided by 4 is still part of my equation. 25 plus 3 is 28. Okay, this is where it gets a little confusing. We have n divided by 4 equals 28. We want to get n alone. So we want to figure out what number divided by 4 equals 28. Okay? So you are thinking in your head right now, oh, n equals 7, right? No. 7 times 4 equals 28. 28 divided by 4 equals 7. We want to know what number divided by 4 equals 28. So we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to multiply by 4. Okay? So now, if we rewrote this over here, n divided by 4 times 4 would be 4n over 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we would be left with n, and then we have 28 times 4, and we get 112. Okay, if we put 112 back up into our equation, 112 divided by 4, which we just figured out is 28, and then if we subtract 3, 28 minus 3 equals 25. Okay, I need to go a little bit faster here so our video doesn't go super long. So here we have 3x plus 2 equals 20. Here's my railroad tracks. Okay, I want to get x alone. So first we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. We have 3x equals 18. Divide both sides by 3. And then we have x equals 6. 3 times 6 is 18 plus 2 equals 20. Okay, we're going to skip down to this one, another fraction one. So negative 1 equals 1/2 a plus 9. Okay, so I'm looking at this side because my variable a is on this side. I'm going to first get rid of this plus 9. So we have minus 9. So our first operation is for these two-step equations is going to be a plus or a minus. Then minus 9. Horrible writing tonight. Negative 10 equals 1/2 a. Okay, we want to know half of what number equals negative 10. So what we are going to do to get rid of this 1/2, we are actually going to multiply. So it's basically the same as doing a divided by 2. So we're actually going to multiply by the reciprocal, 2 over 1. because we know that 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 over 2 is 1, so we would be left with A. And then we're going to multiply this by 2 as well. Negative 10 times 2 equals negative 20. So half of negative 20 is negative 10, plus 9 would be negative 1. Okay, this one is a little bit tricky. This throws people off. So we have 6 minus 3x equals 21. And right away you're probably thinking, oh, since we're subtracting 6, we're going to add 6. I'm actually going to change this to a plus negative. We want to get rid of this 6. Even though there's a negative right here, this negative goes with 3x. This is still positive 6. So to get rid of positive 6, we need to subtract 6. Okay, 21 minus 6 would be 15. 6 minus 6 cancels out, so we have negative 3x equals 15, and then we divide both sides by 3, so we have x equals negative 5. Okay, let's do, which one do we want to do? Let's do this one down here. N divided by negative 3 minus 2 equals negative 18. So I'm going to change this right away to plus negative. Make my tracks to separate my sides. Oops. So if we're adding a negative 2 on this side, then to get rid of adding a negative 2, we actually have to add a positive 2. If you kept it as subtracting 2, then the opposite would be adding 2. But adding negative 2, the opposite is adding positive 2, because negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So then I'm going to pull my n divided by negative 3 equals, oops, and we have to add 2 over here. So negative 18 plus 2 is negative 16. We have n divided by negative 3. Because it's being divided by negative 3, we're going to do the opposite to get rid of it. So we're going to multiply by negative 3. Multiply by negative 3. We have n equals, so we have negative 16 times negative 3 equals 48, because we have a negative times a negative and we get a positive. Okay, so what happens if we have, if one of the sides is not simplified first? Now we have to combine like terms and then solve from there. So I'm going to do, before I even do my railroad tracks, I'm going to look at both of my sides, and I can see that x plus 4x, well remember x is the same as 1x, so we know that 1x plus 4x, because 1 plus 4 equals 5, is 5x equals 45. And then without even doing my railroad tracks, I know that I need to just divide both sides by 5. Because x is being multiplied by 5, so we're going to do the opposite. X equals 9. Okay, 6k minus 10k. So 6 minus 10, or let's change it to plus negative. So 6 plus negative 10 would be negative 4k equals 16. Because k is being multiplied by negative 4, we're going to divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. So take note that if we are multiplying or dividing, we're actually dividing, so like here we have times -4, we're dividing by that exact same number because we want to get rid of it. -4 over -4 is 1, so that's why it's the same number. 16 divided by -4 is -4 then. So k equals -4. As opposed to our previous numbers, our previous examples, where remember we had a +1 and we were subtracting 1. Because if we're adding or subtracting, we want to get it to 0, because anything plus 0 then is just that number. But if we're multiplying or dividing, we want to get it to 1, because anything multiplied or divided by 1 is that number. Okay? So that's really important to remember. We'll have some more examples here. So now we have 10 equals 2a plus 13 minus a. So let's change this to a plus negative. So we have 2a and -a are our like terms. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this then, if it would let me. 10 equals, so we have 2a plus -a, or plus -1a. 2 plus -1 is 1, or I can just write a, 1a plus 13. Okay, now we are going to solve just like we did on our previous slide here. Okay, so we have 1a plus 13. So first we're going to get rid of our 13. Okay, which we subtract 13, because 13 minus 13 is 0. So then we're left with 1a, or just a. And then we have to do the same over here. Minus 13. 10 minus 13, my mouse is not really working tonight, is -3. So a equals -3. So if you were to put in a -3 in for both of the a's, let's do that. So we have 10 equals 2 times -3 plus 13 minus -3. So 2 times -3 is -6, plus 13 would be 7, minus -3, so minus negative would be chop chop. So 7 minus -3 would equal 10. So then we know that it checks. Okay, we are going to do this problem right here. 2 times x plus 5 equals 15. I'm sorry this video is getting a little long. The first thing that we need to do before we do anything is distribute our 2 out. So the 2 then is multiplied by the x, so 2x, and then 2 times 5 is 10, so 2x plus 10 equals 15. Then we solve from there. We have minus 10 minus 10, because since we're adding 10, we're going to do the opposite. Subtract 10. So 10 minus 10 is 0, so we're left with 2x. 15 minus 10 is 5. 2x equals 5. Divide both sides by 2. And x equals 2.5. Okay. Let's solve this one down here. A minus 3 divided by 10 equals -27. So we have a minus 3. So if you think of order of operations, whatever a is, you would put in your value for a, then you would subtract 3, then you would divide 10. So we're going to go in backwards order. So dividing by 10, the opposite is multiplying by 10. Okay, so to get rid of that 10, because 10 times a minus 3, if we have a 10 on top, 10 over 10 is just 1. So we have a minus 3 equals negative 270. Okay, a minus 3, so whatever number minus 3 equals negative 270. So we're going to do the opposite of subtracting 3, which is adding 3. And then a equals, so we have negative 270 plus 3, so we would have negative 267. So negative 267 minus 3 would give us negative 270 divided by 10 equals negative 27. Okay, that's all that we're going to do on our video today. Make sure you log into Naiku and do your 8-2 quiz.